This episode of the Women Got Game podcast is made possible in part by KeyBank. KeyBank is a proud sponsor of women's athletics in Toledo and Northwest Ohio.
Welcome to Women Got Game, where we uncover untold stories of extraordinary women in sports across Northwest Ohio and beyond. I'm Sophia Fisher, and we're going to celebrate the evolution of female athletes, coaches, and sports enthusiasts. Let's dive into a world often overlooked in the broader sports narrative. Ready to explore? Let's play. All right, welcome. This is Women Got Game, where we don't just talk about women's sports. We celebrate the grind, the growth, and the greatness behind it. I'm Sophia Fisher, and today we're talking about building a women's volleyball D1 championship team. In our guest's very first season leading University of Toledo women's volleyball, Brian Wright didn't just compete, he made history. A MAC tournament championship, a program first NC2A tournament berth, a team that led the nation in service aces, records shattered, culture elevated, standard raised. And this wasn't luck. This is a coach who's been to 14 NC2A tournaments, 6 Final Fours, a national championship, and nearly 2 decades at the highest level of Division I women's volleyball. Welcome, Brian Wright. And Brian's the head coach of the University of Toledo women's volleyball team. Let's get into it, Brian. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
All right, it's awesome to have you in the studio. And what I like to do on Women Got Game is really learn about I know you're a championship builder, but I really want to talk about your origin story, meaning the human first, coach second. So the first thing we're going to talk about is, where did your love of volleyball come from?
Kind of crazy, actually. I played every sport growing up. I grew up in Houston, Texas. I didn't even know guys played volleyball until I was 18. But I'd played every other sport. Sports were a huge, huge part of my life. And when I was 18 years old, honestly, I was playing soccer, and some guys said, "Hey, let's go play volleyball for fun, and just try to stay in shape for soccer season." And next thing you know, I'm playing, I'm having a blast. We had no idea what we were doing, but we just enjoyed it. And I'm 6'3", I jumped well, and all of a sudden they're like, they make me MVP of the league, which I realize now was 100% to convince me to come play on their club team, but it worked. And I went,
fooled.
They got me.
Yeah.
But I went and played club for 1 year and went to a national tournament, had a blast, loved it, started learning the game. And then I went off to school at University of Texas and thought, okay, my volleyball thing's over. That was 6 months. It was fun. And I met some guys there as soon as I got to campus that said that there was a men's club team on campus. And so I said, sure, I'll play that. Fast forward 12 months later, I'm running the club because it's a student-run organization. That happened quick. And 6 months after that, I was coaching. And here we are 20 plus years later, and it's my whole life. So once volleyball found me, that's all I've ever done.
That's it. So then where did you align with coaching? When did that dream come into play, or that vision that you wanted to coach?
Yeah. So I was a math and computer science major and had never thought of coaching as a career, didn't even really realize it was. And then when I get offered a club coaching job, and it sounded like a fun way to make a little bit of money on the side, and I could do it while I was still, going through my math and computer science degree. And I get into it, and I realized I really like this, and I'm not good at it, and I need to figure it out, and I just want to get better at it. And I completely, my entire life, hard left. Math and computer science were out the window. Everything was coaching. Every book I read became on something that was going to help me become a better coach, and it's all I've ever done since I first took that part-time job for money.
Wow. So really looking at that, then that was your foundation, really. You had that moment, that aha moment, and you said, I really want to coach this, and you were all in. So moving from that, let's talk about your Big Ten foundation, because I think that was the championship standard, right? And tell us a little bit about your time at, and what did Ohio State teach you about operating at that championship level, and just tell me your journey there.
Yeah. I mean, Ohio State's a university with 36 sports, and they want to be elite in every single one of them. So, every day that you're on that campus, you're surrounded by athletes and coaches and staff that are, for the most part, have worked their way up to that level. So you're just surrounded by a ton of people that are trying to be the best at everything they do. And when you're surrounded by that, you just have a lot of passive ways to learn from people in terms of what they're doing, but you also just lots of little conversations and just learn from the absolute best. So, in terms of the volleyball itself, when I was there, walking in and maintaining and having some sustained success for the first few years that we were there, just showed me another way to do things at a new place that at a high level.
So it shaped your standard.
Yeah, I think, for me, I'll still say to this day, like, my standard is get better every single day, and my standard is try to be your absolute best. And regardless of what that level is, that's really what drives me. But when you're surrounded by people that are trying to do that at a, national championship level, you're surrounded by people that know how to be great with what they're doing every day.
So what pieces of that culture do you think you intentionally brought to University of Toledo?
I said in my interview, and it's on the whiteboard since the day I showed up. It'll probably never not be on the whiteboard, but at the peak of what I'm trying to do is be consistently great every day. And so, and when you talk about that, like, that sounds much simpler than it is to actually live out, right? Like, you're setting a standard for yourself of being absolutely great every single day. Like, you can have a great day and still say I could have been better. And so it's a little bit of a tough challenge, but when I'm teaching athletes to be consistently great every day, that is everything from time management and going from school to volleyball to nutrition and recovery and sleep and relationships and morale. And, so it's a tough standard but it's a good one to build a foundation. So that's always going to stay with me.
Yeah, you must have read my mind, because I was going to ask you, what's the biggest difference between sustaining a powerhouse and building a powerhouse? Because that's two different recipes, I would imagine.
For me, I'm the same. Like, I'm the same in terms of, like, I just want to be consistently great every day. But where are we? What is the history, right? Okay, so like Ohio State, 4,000 people are going to walk into the arena and come to every game, almost regardless of your success, right? Like, there's just this foundation is there. Part of the reason I wanted this job here at Toledo was seeing the long history of it being a women's sports city with the women's basketball program and many other things, and an opportunity to do the same thing for volleyball and really watch it grow. So for me, it was like, I don't just want to be consistently great for my athletes. I also want to connect with the city. I want to watch the attendance grow. So I think I just created more, like, prongs for myself of things that I wanted to accomplish, as opposed to just being great, like, in the gym.
I love that, because I remember when I first met with you, and you told me just straight away, you said, I'm going to do this. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do it fast. I'm going to take a hard run at it. I call it the MAC run, and you're going to go for the championship. Yeah. So take us back really to your 1 year. You're in it. You get here. Boom. You're doing it. And all of a sudden, you're winning the MAC. Yeah. Let's talk about that. And it'd be awesome. Awesome feeling. And it just blew us all away. Not that we didn't think you could do it, but it just, that momentum you created was just intense. The crowds, the generation of, attendance, and all the things were just in the right up arrow. Everything you touched just turned to gold.
Well, that when you put it that way, right, that's a lot. But I think I wanted to keep doing new things. And I said in my press conference, in the first 3 years, I want to hang that first championship banner. In the first 3 years, I want to double attendance. And to have the courage to say things out loud, it also kind of holds you to, this is now what I want to get, what do I want to accomplish? But in a way, when you say it out loud, you're also giving everybody else permission to, like, jump on board and help you get there, right? Whether it's my athletes, whether it's the athletic department, whether it's the city and the community. And fast forward 12 months, we win the championship, and we almost doubled attendance in the first year. I didn't actually think that we were going to accomplish everything that fast, right? But I knew it was possible. I knew Toledo had the recipe to do it. And So it was, I felt there was something special. This program had been doing. They'd been growing and they'd been building, and there was a lot of really good people in the program when I got here. We brought in another 8 over the summer, and I think the foundation brought them in, and it was a really good group to be ready to do something special in the fall. But they bought into belief and togetherness and learning volleyball and just everything that needed to happen to have a pretty special season.
So you knew early on that there was something special about the team and the trajectory where you were headed, and you definitely created it, and I think it's incredible. And at the end of it, what did that win in that last game, the MAC, what did it do to validate you personally as a leader, or maybe just as hey, I'm here, I made it.
Yeah. I think, they always say that you never try to be somebody else, right? Like never try to only emulate somebody else's leadership style, and but still learn from all the amazing people that you've ever worked with. And my very first, the person who hired me for a club, she taught me how to treat people well, and she taught me how to speak positively, and for sure shaped some of my philosophies in terms of just giving hope and things. And then, I'm at Texas and I'm learning from somebody there that knows sustained success. And I go to TCU with somebody that is great at building culture. And I go to Ohio State, and now we've got this high achieving athletic department in everything you do. And throughout all those stops, I think I'm learning a little bit from everybody, but I really spent the last year letting myself be myself, letting myself learn from all those things, but do it my way. And I didn't try to be something I'm not. And I think that, personally, to see where the city is with volleyball now, to see that we're going to be able to hang that banner, to be designing a ring. I mean, we just put up a wall mural right outside the locker room. When I got here, you could walk up and down that hallway and not know the volleyball locker room was right there. And now volleyball is all over that hallway, and history is all over that hallway. So to know I did it my own way, sure, that's pretty cool, because none of us, you don't get into coaching to do things personally, right? You're trying to help other people be their absolute best. But sometimes you need a little reminder that the way you're doing it's pretty cool.
I think it's really cool. And I guess I have to ask you, how are you going to plan on sustaining that hunger as you just achieved that conference title? What is your kind of vision for moving into this next season?
I think it just like you said, it validated that the way we do things can bring really cool success to the people I coach, to the staff that I work with, to the city and the community. So really, I'm just hungry to continue that. I mean, really, it's been 3 months, since then, and I'm still focused on how can we be our absolute best all the time. And I don't know. Maybe that's just always who I've been, is if you're always trying to be your best, no win, no loss. We talk about it with the team, right? Last year, people doubted us. People, oh, you lost these people. Here's where you're going to finish in the league. Just over and over and over, people are telling you you're not going to be successful. And now we're on the other side of it of, oh, you're going to be successful. You've done a great job. This is going to continue to happen. And so we talk a lot about the world doesn't get to tell you how to feel. No matter what somebody says to you, no matter what, you get to determine how you show up every day and what you bring. And so while they were doubting, we didn't doubt. While they're believing, that isn't what's going to create our belief. We've got to do that ourselves.
I love that. So you definitely created a identity of success and culture. And let's talk a little bit about, obviously you're into player development because, well, first, before I ask the next question, I want to say to some of our listeners, they may not know, what is a service ace?
A service ace is where the person that serves the ball you directly win the point because of that serve.
Excellent. So the next thing here is maybe not a question, but a comment. But how good did you feel when you led the nation in service aces and ranked top 15 in the nation? Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah. Anytime you do something that you're getting nationally recognized for, it can't be by chance. And so, you don't set out to serve aces, but you set out to be courageous and to take chances and to serve aggressively. And like when you look at all the way we played, having an aggressive mindset was a big part of it. Like we're going to be a team that goes for it. We're not just going to play it safe. And I think serving is a great example of that. Like, are there people that maybe that probably made a higher percentage of their serves than us? Sure. But did we take chances? Did we go for it? And did we do it sustainably from the start to the end of the season? And it turned into a pretty cool national recognition stat. Yeah.
I think that's cool. I can see a T-shirt. I'm going to say, this is like your blueprint. Sorry, I had to use the blue and gold in there, but it seems that you guys really got that down and it really showcased you on a national level, which I think is always just awesome, especially for the MAC. Okay, so several other players broke records and they earned major honors. So do you emphasize chasing greatness or does that happen organically?
I think if you're trying to be your absolute best and you're trying to get yourself better and your team wins, then you're gonna have some individual awards. And we talked about it a lot. We didn't win a single Player of the Week award the entire season. There was never one week where our players were voted on winning best of that week. But instead, we had the most players in our program history make the All-MAC team. We had the most ever make the All-Tournament team. We had the first ever tournament MVP. Like, we had the first ever positional as a Defensive Player of the Year. So we had these sustained awards, not the temporary weekly awards. And I think for me, those are the more, like, those take consistent, sustainable success. But if you don't win, if you're not, like, you can have individuals on teams where they're going 500 don't earn the Player of the Year award, right? Like, it's not just stats that get you there. So when those players are doing things for themselves to be better, but it's clear they're doing it with a group that's also getting better, it's just like doubly special.
Well, I think your background in math and science really did end up helping you out because I think I did read this. You have to tell me if I'm wrong or right, but you coached 36 All-Americans. And then it's like your philosophy on developing talent, elite talent. And then you have this really strong chemistry. Okay, I had to throw that in there. Yeah. But I think you got it down. So tell us about that type of philosophy and developing. That's a lot of athletes to get to the elite level.
It is. I mean, you have to find people that are willing to be their best, but then you have to figure out what's going to help. Like, what do they need from you to help get there? And, one of the things that I'll credit with a lot of our success in the fall was the stuff we did outside the gym. Every single player on the team has a meeting with me at least every 2 to 3 weeks, and they're scheduled out for the whole semester. And part of the reason I schedule them out so that I don't get behind in doing that, but it's also now, because it's a random time when they're in there, there's times when life's going great and they get to tell me about all the great things. And there's times when they come in and they're struggling and they get to actually talk about that as well. And now you're not just sitting on, the coach's couch or chair or in his office only when things go wrong. You're in there for the full gamut of emotions and successes and failures and challenges and everything that comes with trying to do anything at a high level. And so whether it was helping someone realize that they just needed a little more water in their life to have better recovery and better sleep, or talking through like, hey, there's a great sports psychology program that we have access to. Like, have you thought about talking about your self-talk with the therapist? Like, just whatever all those different pieces are, the players individually buying into being great outside of just the volleyball is so important because, like, it doesn't matter. Like, you can say you want to get better, but there's usually some barrier to learning that you have to overcome in order to really accelerate and get better as fast as you can.
So you really help them build confidence when they need that confidence building. You're there specifically to meet their needs. You know them as humans. Yeah. And first and foremost, you want them to be great humans, but also tapping into, I love that you talk about the psychology of barriers, because we all have them, right? Mm-hmm. So I'll ask you, what do you think makes a great female leader on the court? It's probably numerous things. It's not just one thing, probably.
I think if I'm going to go back to like consistency. If everybody else on the team knows what to expect from you, that automatically is going to make everybody else better because they're going to be able to figure out who you are. You're going to build trust faster. But the relationships are going to get better. If you're all over the place of how you show up every single day, You just need to lead yourself a little bit before you start trying to figure out how to lead somebody else. But once you figure out how to consistently bring great presence, then you also get the opportunity to then start figuring out how to bring people along with you. And we talk about there being a lot of ways to bring people along with you. And one of the easiest ways is if there's something you value, a behavior, not just a good play. You walk into any gym, any sport, and you're going to hear somebody say like, nice swing, nice shot, nice this, nice that, like, and it's all results based. But I'm like, can we complement the behaviors? If somebody shows up early to set up the nets that day that doesn't always do it, do you compliment them instead of just taking it for granted? If somebody makes a mistake and somebody else tells them like, hey, way to go for it, keep trying new things, do you compliment both the person who kept their body language great and kept going for it while complimenting the other person that told them to keep going for it? Because those are both great behaviors. And so as a leader, you have to have the awareness to know what to compliment and what those standards are. And it's my job to like teach these are behaviors that we want to have. But then once we do that, they need to complement each other. They need to catch the good. And that's a major way that we teach them to try to be leaders.
I like that. Catch the good. Mm-hmm. That's a good shirt for you next season. I'm just saying, sorry, I'm in branding. But so what responsibility do you think that male coaches have when they're coaching female teams?
To be honest, I've only coached women for over 25 years, and I don't know what the differences are because I've never coached men. I just see groups of people every single year that are trying to be their best, that are absolutely like, I coach amazing women right now. I've got future doctors and future dentists and future engineers and future business leaders, and they're doing all that 6-8 hours a day, and then showing up to practice and going hard for 3 hours, and then going home and treating other people well where they live and building good relationships. I see myself as coaching amazing people and amazing women and trying to help them continue to be their best.
So it's about resilience, mental toughness. Mm-hmm. It's all wrapped into really your philosophy. There isn't just really one thing. But what would you say, I guess maybe if you do lose, what is your personal process to get the girls through a tough loss, or they're in a lull, they're in some type of a rut? What do you do to get them out of that and kind of, I think maybe, move the needle on that so they can get unstuck, if you will?
Yeah. I'll go back to, for a really, really long time, I think words have a lot of power, and there's a lot of ways to deliver the same message. But the word choice is real. Like I've read just about every book on, how to provide hope with the words that you use. And so if I can go in a room and you don't have to fluff, you don't have to act like things went a certain way, but there's a way to say, this is where we were today and this is what we're capable of, and we just weren't quite there, and that's why we lost. And so we need to get better at showing up and doing the things it's going to take. But they have to walk out of that room and know that the hope and the belief that we can do it is still there. And I think that, there's too many. I walk around convention centers with 100 courts when I'm recruiting. I've seen a lot of volleyball, and there's too many times after a loss that a coach doesn't have their own composure, and because of that, players leave losing the hope and belief in that moment. And that's if you take that away, how are you ever going to keep getting better?
Yeah. So today's athletes, I think, face a lot more pressure. And one of the pressures I feel, and I always like to ask all coaches this same question, NIL and the modern athlete. Yeah. So how does NIL change recruiting and team dynamics for you? And tell me about what advice do you give your athletes in branding themselves? And it just seems to be a whole process with the portal, and it seems like a lot of pressure.
I think they're just hearing about so many more things. Like when I was 18 years old, I was trying to figure out how to just show up and smile the same every day, right? And now you've got, you take, whether it's NIL or, they've changed the scholarship stuff, and everybody can be on a different amount.
Sure,
and
the rev share, right?
Yeah, and there's so many pieces to all that, by the time you get your first, second, third job, or you're in an office setting, there's this understanding that everybody's making a different amount and all that stuff, and it's a little piece of your value, but but you don't really know, right? Now 18, 19-year-olds are having to wonder, like, is that what my value is? Is somebody else doing, like, the comparative stuff that comes with that could present a challenge. I think ultimately my job and, our world, we're not dealing with, I mean, some of the sports or some of the stuff in volleyball is, but it's not always life-changing money. And so hopefully you're still building the values and the growth of, like, the life, what you can learn from it to be more successful down the road instead of just what you can do. But I also get to have conversations now with players about, if you can save a little bit of money and start a Roth IRA, holy cow, I wish somebody had taught me that when I was 18, right? So,
yeah, for sure.
There's plenty of other, like, new lessons that get to come with it that they're just having to learn at a younger age.
Yeah, well, you brought me to my next question is, if you could speak to your younger self, what would you have told yourself? Or what you wish you would have known then that someone would have told you? You kind of hinted to this already. I like the Roth IRA, but what else would you have liked to have
if I'd had $1 extra, I would have told myself to save it.
100%.
I would have told myself the same thing I tell my team, and that's be yourself and you are enough. And the rest will take care of itself. If you show up every single day and you're just trying to be great at what you want to do, it's all going to work out. There's probably a point in my life where I needed to hear that, but I tell my athletes that all the time. I mean, they also have the pressures of, like, they're 18 years old and they're like, I don't know what I want to do with the rest of my life. I'm like, that's okay. Like, that's okay. Like, you in 20 years, you might not know what you want to do with the rest of your life, and that'll still be okay. But wherever you are, be great at it and treat people well, and then you'll look for the next thing and you'll find the next source of passion. But, like, just be good along the way.
Yeah. So 10 years from now, what do you want your former players to say about you?
Just that I believed in them and I cared about them and I wanted them to be their best. And regardless if they think that I helped them, get better along the way, I just want them to know that I believed and cared and wanted that for them.
All right, we're going to do some rapid fire to have
Okay.
some fun. So what does Women Got Game mean to you?
Oh, man, to me, the first thing I think of is a statement that doesn't need to be said. Like, it's just, women are amazing, and I've worked with just so many amazing women along the time, and women are amazing.
I like it. Game day ritual, do you have one?
No.
Good, that's
No.
easy there. Yes,
Yeah.
I like it. Favorite candy?
Plain M&Ms.
Favorite food?
I mean, I could eat a grilled chicken sandwich every day.
I like it. Favorite beverage?
Waterloo. I drink way too much sparkling water, but it's great.
What flavor?
All of them.
You like them all?
Just the sample packs.
All
Just
right.
go get them.
All right. Something about you people don't know.
I have no idea.
That's good. That means
Yeah.
they know it then.
Yeah.
That's good. Good stuff.
Kind of an open book.
You're humble. I'm going to tell you. That's what they don't know. I mean, and they
Okay.
probably do, but you just had a amazing season, and I've watched you from afar, and I just think you're a lot of coaches sometimes they're aren't as humble. I when you look at TV and you look at front office, you're looking at all these publications now, and it's a lot of money. It's a lot of pomp and circumstance, but you're definitely very humble. And let's ask you, what's your vision for University of Toledo women's volleyball? What's the future look like?
I said this in my interview, and I'll tell people now, like, I want Toledo to be a volleyball school, and I want it to be a volleyball city. And those are big statements, right? Like, there's no one day you just become those things. It takes sustained success. It takes everything we're already doing as a program continued for a long period of time in order for people to view it that way and know that it's there.
All right. Well, I wish you much success in continuing the championship and the MAC championships at University of Toledo and beyond. And it's been just great chatting with you today. And Brian Wright, you got game.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode, as it wasn't just about leadership. It's about coaching women with purpose. It's about resilience, standards, and building something that lasts. Because when women get the right environment, they don't just compete, they dominate. Don't forget to subscribe, share, or comment on what women's stories you'd like to hear about. Thanks for tuning in, and a special thanks to my executive producer, Chris Pfeiffer. I'm your host and producer, Sophia Fisher. Please visit us at wgte.org/WomenGotGame.
WGTE. Voices around us.
This episode of the Women Got Game podcast is made possible in part by KeyBank. KeyBank is a proud sponsor of women's athletics in Toledo and Northwest Ohio.